delete it if it's no good.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much. This is Aaron Vanek. I am talking to Stephen Sloan, the hopefully, if we sacrifice enough cultists, the director of the Mountains of Madness feature film. So
What is the going rate for cultists to a feature film nowadays?
How many do you have to sacrifice?
Yeah.
A lot of them. So this is kind of also a test run. We'll see if this actually does get broadcast. But Stephen, tell me, I'm actually really curious, what inspired you to want to do the Mountains of Madness movie?
I'd have to go with an ongoing sense of frustration at not being able to see other incredibly talented people do this adaptation. I've been hungry for it for a while, and I'm the sort of person where I consider myself creative. So when I can't find the things I want, I tend to make them. So in high school it was like I couldn't find a specific sort of comic that I wanted to read, so I just made my own comic. And then a little bit later on, it got into college, and I couldn't find the sort of like models or action figures I wanted, so I just started making my own. And then in the professional world, when it came to the sort of like cartoons and things I wanted to see, I would just start making my own. So I've kind of carried this theme through, and I figured, well, why not, take it up a notch? And I've been working freelance in the animation industry for like 13 plus years now. So I figured, you know what, let's take it up a notch and just try making this myself.
And why did you? So what is it about the Lovecraft thing? I mean, there's tons and tons of other things you could probably do, including other Lovecraft stories. Why Mountains of Madness?
Well, I mean, as far as the subject matter, I mean, I'm spoiled for choice. I'm kind of a huge nerd or geek, whatever label I want to throw on myself. So I have a lot of interests. They vary, horror, sci-fi, fantasy. I considered strongly some H.G. Wells material that I really like to see that's never been done. His Stories of the Stone Age are some of my favorite stories. First Men in the Moon is another one that I think is fantastic. It's been adapted, but I would love to see an animated adaptation of that. But I don't know. I am drawn towards some of the darker stuff, and Lovecraft is probably one of my favorite horror / sci-fi / weird authors. And I think it's just because I connected with him maybe a little bit younger than some of the other classic sci-fi authors. And Mountains of Madness is one of his largest works, or possibly his largest work. So it kind of draws my attention as the source for a feature film a little more than some of his other material.
Cool. Have you made any other Lovecraft films, shorts like tests or something like that?
No, nothing Lovecraft yet.
So this is new, untouched territory, and who knows what horrors lurk in the darkest recesses of Stephen Sloan's creative imagination.
Yeah, we may not like what we find when we get there, but hopefully it'll be entertaining to watch at least.
And so what? How do you kind of see this as an animated film? What's kind of your tone and just some hints of the vision? What scenes and things have you kind of imagined that'll be up on screen?
Well, it is an interesting story to adapt, and I've had this conversation with a fellow that I've sort of a secret partner that I've been sort of co-writing elements of it with and planning it out with, and one of the things we've discussed is that At the Mountains of Madness is a great book, and the narration in it is handled very well as like a story, as literature, but a lot of it doesn't translate directly to a visual medium. If we were to do like a direct translation of the book, we'd be spending the first half of the movie just watching somebody sit at a radio and just be making notes about what they're hearing from Lake's camp and whatnot. So the interesting aspect to the adaptation that we're looking to do is because animation is a visual medium, we're going to want to find more visual things to show. So situations like seeing the terror at the camp, instead of just coming onto it afterwards, really investigating the Elder Things city on the plateau in a bit more detail, and maybe, filling out some of the information of what some of those rooms were like. How are we going to, another situation that I'm really interested in covering is when Dyer and Danforth discover, the murals and the engravings that tell the history of the Elder Things. Well, I don't want to have just a character standing in a hallway, dictating to the audience what he's seeing. I want to find another way to show that visually. And with some of the character designs that we've previewed so far on the Facebook page and in the Kickstarter video, you can see that we are thinking about maybe doing a little bit more of a full adaptation of that sequence.
Cool. That'll be awesome to actually see the opening history and the Elder Thing, Fungi from Ugath, Migo War, things like that.
Yeah, there's no shortage of conflict in their history, so maybe they're not too much dissimilar to us.
Yeah. So let's wrap this up. Tell me about the Kickstarter and what the Kickstarter is doing and what you're looking for with the Kickstarter campaign.
Well, just as kind of a brief summary, I don't want to reiterate too much of what I said there. Basically, we're all professionals who are working on this. This is I like to say it's a movie made by fans, but it's not a fan film. This is a professional production, and as such, our final budget is going to be pretty significant. So what we're looking for in Kickstarter is we're not looking to get the budget for the entire film. We're looking to just help to cover the cost for some of our initial pre-production, the very important aspects of pre-production. So that's going to be getting our script finished. The most important thing, I think, is hiring well-known voice actors that are going to give a lot of legitimacy to the film, recording their audio, getting that all engineered, and then creating the storyboards for the film so that eventually we can have essentially a rough cut of the entire movie that we'll be able to share with the fans and the backers of the Kickstarter, and which will also act as our springboard into finding further financing through distribution partners, Telefilm Canada, certain tax credits we're looking at getting as well, and that's going to help to make up the remainder of the budget.
And so it's basically this is the launch, the first seed planted that will lead to ultimately a finished feature film.
Exactly. Yeah, it's difficult to get things funded when you bring just an idea, to some of these agencies. But if you can bring them a more fully fleshed out concept, then it gets much easier. And like I said, by at least completing the animatic, regardless of what happens, we'll have something to show for all our efforts.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Stephen, thank you so much. I hope we get to do more of this again and some more interviews and things with other people associated with the Mountains Madness movie. Everyone, thank you for listening. Please check out the Mountains Madness movie Kickstarter campaign, as well as the original website, which hopefully will be linked to below this as I try to figure out the technology to do so. And stay tuned for more updates. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Aaron. Good night.
Thanks. All right.